Yeah, that's who we were hanging with.
No,
we were kind of dreaming up about this. And anyway, I just wanted to tell you, did it?
Sorry, are you?
Hey, Richard.
Hello, Richard. How are you?
Pretty good. How about yourselves?
Well, this is interesting because almost all my audio from all you guys are breaking up. So I wonder if it's my connection.
I got a Neumann.
It's indicating that it's pretty strong. Oh, wait, I'm on the city of San Diego. The city of San Jose has a thing called wickedly fast Wi-Fi that's a public net, and that's where I'm.
You actually look good and sound good, though, Bill, if you're on a public Wi-Fi.
Do I sound good coming to you? Because I'm just saying that what I'm hearing back through my headphone is iffy.
Yeah, you sound good and look good.
Ah, okay.
Not that you don't normally, but just usually when you're in a Wi-Fi spot, Leo gets pissed off and doesn't like your audio. So
I'm trying to see if there's a different Wi-Fi connection, maybe I should log back on and see if. Anyway, it has been amazing. It's been an incredible thing. This is it seems to be a significant change in Apple attitude.
Do you mean a difference since NAB?
Yeah. No, I didn't get much FaceTime or introductions at NAB from people coming up and saying hi, and at this I have.
Wow.
From the beginning. In fact, they did so what had in our trip to the Apple campus, they took 2 bus loads, and I understand that the first bus load they didn't have a lot of time for Q&A after the tour and the presentation, but on my second group, they specifically hung out in the room for a good 20 minutes and just talked. Just, hi, who are you? Here's what I do.
So I didn't realize that the Apple presentation was going to be in Cupertino.
Yeah, nobody did until the thing came out that morning.
I thought it was part of the Future Media program. I didn't realize you were going to Cupertino to get the Apple presentation.
Future Media Concepts is putting on the thing. On our official schedule, the trip to Apple was a part of that. So there's linkage between the FMC conference and Apple's approval to have individuals in 2 groups, as it turned out, visit Apple. And so, you had to be signed up, and there was a certain amount of security involved. You had to get a badge, you had to be on the list, you had to, all the rest of that took place. Then the first group went, and I understand that the first group, one of the things that people wanted to do was jump off the bus, and then the agreement was that all cameras and recording devices would be left behind. We all knew that.
Sure.
And the point is you can't even really take them in, so please leave them on the bus. They'll have security at the buses. I understand when I heard that people obeyed and did that, but then they said, wait a second, we want to take pictures of just the building. So they ran out and a bunch of people snapped snapshots of that, and that kind of delayed them a little. They were running behind times for the tour thing. This all affected the first tour, but it didn't affect our group in the second tour, which was a bit smaller when we did our tour. We got the tour, we got to see the content, we got to, 4 or 5 people talk to us from the Apple team. They introduced a lot of people directly and said, hi, and I do this. And then at the end, they said, we have some time for questions. So we just able to go up and talk to people and just ask questions. And I thought that was going to be it. I thought that was going to be the whole end of the interaction thing. But then, amazingly enough, all day yesterday and all day today, not so much later this afternoon here, some of the other people from the team have been in the rooms here. 5 or 6 of the Final Cut team spent the evening at the Super Meet. And so we were able to just, saunter over with a drink and have a chat. So it really has been entirely unexpected in terms of the amount of time they were interested in interacting with those of us who came up here.
That's great.
It was unexpected.
You're right, it is great, but it was a very limited audience, right? 100 people or so? Go ahead, repeat. Maybe he can hear you better, T.
Can you hear me better, Bill? Richard was just saying it was a very limited audience, just about 100 people or so.
Well, yeah, there's between 100 and 200. You know, it's funny. I thought it was just smaller, but it's been surprising me. Like some of these sessions have been packed. And so, yeah, it's probably somewhere between 100 and 200 people, but it seems like I look around and like there's a lot more people in here than I thought from just the numbers.
My point is, I guess being open to 100 people or so is not the same as being more open to the Final Cut Pro community at large, which is over 1 million. It's a very small subsample.
I agree with that, you know, but there's a certain commitment to signing up for a thing like this. I mean, it's not cheap, and it's not that you're trying to keep people out. I don't think. I mean, you know, anybody who wanted to come and sign up for the conference could be here. So there's a certain cross section. For example, in the people I just talked to here, yes, there is a significant number of Final Cut Pro 10 voices, names, semi-famous people. You know, Wes Plate's here, and you know, Alex, and there are a lot of names, you know. But there are also a lot of just, I'm a Final Cut Pro editor, and my corporate, you know, there's a guy here from Caterpillar. Caterpillar uses 10 to do their corporate video, so he's here. So there's, you know, just the standard business video people who are thinking about using this. So it's not confined just to the folks who hang out on our Hangout, that kind of person.
No, I understand that, but even though you had to agree not to film and not to audio tape and stuff.
It was a gentleman's agreement, and it was very clear, and the lack of recording devices, and they made it a point. They hung the point on the fact that they used a lot of content that they got permission to use, but just like at NAB, you know, they're showing things from Focus. Now, we've talked about that, and that's released, but some of the case studies they did were not released. We saw some talk about what they are doing in Europe for a big broadcasting kind of organization. So it's that kind of stuff. I don't know what the rights clearance on that would be like, but I would imagine it's pretty substantial.
Do they have a Pro Apps team anymore?
Yeah, that's who we were hanging with. Yeah, and in fact,
well, I thought that was a Final Cut Pro team.
Yeah, you know, Pro Video Apps guy. He kind of runs for it. He was there.
The reason I asked that was I'm curious as how Logic Pro works with the Pro Apps team. Do they ever mention Logic Pro?
How I got everything. I got the Pro Apps team, but how something works with it, but I didn't get the object of the sentence.
The Logic Pro team seems very separate from Cupertino and Final Cut Pro. They just don't seem like they're part of a team. They seem like they're separate.
You know, let me log off and see if I can get a better connection logging back in, because I know you guys can hear me well, but this is frustrating. I want to answer and be responsive, but I'm getting every third. So let me zip out and then come back into the own Hangout and see what happens. Be right back.
So T, do you know anything about how Logic and Final Cut Pro, if anybody is, do they work together at all?
Okay, let's see if that's better or worse.
I don't know if this is.
Oh my God, that's better already. Yeah, substantially better. So it was obviously the connection on my side.
Well, you know what? I guess apart from that, I guess I can, since Bill kind of already shared some of this stuff, I think that one of the things I found with Apple that was just radically different when you actually talk to the people on the team is that they want to hear from users. They take the time to hear from users. I know one time I wrote like a 2-page little note to them, and within a couple of hours I got a response about something, and I said, wow, I'm just kind of surprised that you guys took the time to listen to this. And they said, that's what we do. We hear from our users. And I know that to mention people like people that were on a board or whatever, the team all knows about them. They know all of these people, and they know everybody.
Experience, yeah.
It's not like you can say a name that you would say, hey, you know, Richard's top, 100. They go, oh yeah, we look at that all the time. I mean, they're just total. I'm not saying that they said that, but they're just completely aware of it, and they're very much keeping with the pulse of things. And I think that their
well, the Final Cut
openness-
Pro product manager walked up to me and hugged me.
You're a very huggable guy. You're like a big teddy bear.
It just gave me the sense that they understand a lot about the active online community.
Oh, yeah.
And they pay
And
attention.
if I can share this one little note too. Okay, so when I got there, literally people knew who I was.
Chances are at some point they were sitting down and like anybody else, I mean, who doesn't do this in business? I met a guy and has some interesting things to do. So, we chat about it over lunch. I would think those things happen. Yeah, 4 or 5 people, just said hi, and we got into conversations that were, obviously the community, all of this chatter out here has not been blocked by a filter at the front door there. It was pretty clear that they don't expect all of this to be positive stuff. In fact, they're as interested in what people are complaining about. That was my impression, because they honestly want to make the product better. But it's a big, complicated job. One of the things that is public is it was at the Super Meet, not there. Randy Ubillos was on stage and I was talking about the thing. And I think I wrote it down because it was an amazing thing. He was talking about how insanely difficult a 1.0 app is to create. In other words, that's one of the issues here. Final Cut 10 was a 1.0 app. It wasn't we're fixing or we're even making a major change. It was nothing exists. And we have to start from blank pieces of paper, basically. This is my interpretation of it. We have to start from blank pieces of paper and just decide what we're going to do. And that takes a lot more time than here's this stretch of algorithm about how our software works, and we're going to change a piece of it here to give people a new feature.
Sure. But one of the curious things that I read from the summit was that Ubillos said he thought that everybody should have got a free version of Final Cut Pro 7 when Final Cut Pro 10 came out.
This is a number of people, and they all have their differing opinions. And so there's not one collective mind there. That clearly came to me. Hey, how you doing? Here, wait a second. I think I can get you on.
Oh, wow.
Who's this?
Well, he was on.
I know, but can you hear him?
Super organized.
He can't hear you unless I have a Y thing.
Oh, okay.
And I don't have a Y thing, so I have to find another way.
That's right. I'll just talk and they can listen.
But I think I can do a second one to hand to people. Hang on. Let me see if I can log into this. So talk amongst here.
Hey,
Talk
hey,
amongst
Ron.
yourself.
I
Talk
just
to
saw
them.
Ron go
You
on.
can just talk to him here.
How we doing, gents?
Hey, Matt, what's up?
Have I met you before?
Matt Goddard from Australia.
I think Matt. Yeah, Matt Goddard. I've even got a name tag now.
Oh, there you are. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Hey, that's awesome. Matt, how has it been?
It's been really fun. It's been really, really fun. I've learned a lot.
What's been a highlight?
Well, the Randy's talk with Randy and Alex Gollner talking on Friday night at the Super Meetup. Definitely.
Really, what part about that?
Just Randy's Randy's history and his willingness to kind of open up about the beginnings of this whole digital video era. Coming from the original Premiere, and the idea that he coded the original version of Premiere himself in 6 months, and then just kind of expanding on that was a real highlight. Sitting behind Chris Fenwick for the interview, and we have to do some of those things sometimes.
Take one for the team.
Yeah. But yeah, that was probably one of the big highlights of Friday. It's all kind of blurring into a big kind of mess at the moment. We've got 2 more sessions left, and then I'm doing the certification exam from 7 till 9 p.m. tonight. So my brain is just sort of turning into a bit of a mush at the moment.
So I'm thinking I can get 2 people on. So I'm going to pull the monitor for them, and I'm going to give him a different earbud and see if we can do this. Good luck, and if we crunch out, we crunch out.
Wait, what is Ron doing? Ron, what are you doing? You're in the shadows. The shadow, Ron.
It's that window in the background that makes everything dark.
Yeah.
That's much better. Thank
There
you.
you go, Ron. We had a class earlier with Patrick Inhofer about color correction and how not to set up your room for color correction. Ron, your room is not set up for color correction.
There you go.
Okay, what about some tips? What about some of the training that has been a highlight?
Boy, there have been so many things. I got a whole notebook. Literally, I've probably done like 15 or 20 pages.
Who did the thing about that you can, if you have discontinuous clips that are connected and you drag them together with G, it all snaps together. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I saw Chris. I saw Chris post that. I don't know where that came from. I wasn't in a class that I was part of.
Didn't we go over that like 6 months ago on one of the Hangouts?
I brought it up. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I brought it up in the context.
You're the one that showed Chris Fenwick how to do it on one of the chats. I have it on video.
The funny thing is, I don't use it anymore because I mapped, and we had Jeff and I had a whole thing about G&H and whether or not everybody should use Sam Messman's keyboard shortcuts G&H in terms of topping and tailing.
When I remapped G&H for top and tail, I realized that losing G means I couldn't do the tap connected clip things again. So there's, it's like this cascading thing, and I'm wondering, when do I know what set I'm in? I get used to a set.
What is the connected clip thing you just mentioned?
It used to be before I remapped G&H to top and tail. G, when you hold down G and tap two clips together that are secondary storylines, it would form a connected secondary. You didn't know that?
That sounds magical.
Yeah, just try it, Chris. You'll see. It'll make sense real quick.
Just bump it up against the other one. Bump.
It's bumper cars for 10. But when you do top and tail, you kill G. If you use G and H, which I thought made sense.
Well, I think of G as glue. So if you hold on the G key, it will glue it to another clip. So that's how I think of it.
That's pretty good. Glue. I like that.
And so that's what's been interesting here, So you're sitting down and you get into a 10-minute discussion with somebody like Jeff Greenberg, who's a really good trainer and really knows his stuff well. And he has a different way instead of G and H, which I like because it puts my fingers next to each other for top and tail trimming while I'm still in JKL home row. He shifts his left hand to the right side of the keyboard, where he then has his thumb on shift and left and right bracket, which is what does top and tailing normal.
Yeah.
So you're seeing two good ways to do the same thing. And I would have just, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to remap my keyboard, and that's how I trim. And he's, it's like there's another way, and they're equally good.
Yeah.
What do you like?
I think that's one of the big takeaways is that we all know there's so many ways to skin the cat in Final Cut. And everyone's got a slightly different way of doing things. And there's a lot of people here that have sort of come up with their own way of doing it.
Alex?
Yeah.
Alex. Alex is here. Here,
Hello.
you talk for a while.
Hello. Oh no.
Yes, you have to earbud
Busy
it.
pieces.
I was just telling
Alex.
these guys.
Hello, my name is Alex.
You get a fresh haircut just for this? Just for the trip?
Just to match my Twitter handle. So last Friday I took a picture just to show people how old I was really looking, because it's a bit, my vanity meant that I had to do that. And then when I was in LA, I got my hair cut, all of them.
Didn't he do I can't hear you, so you have to respond to this by waving, but didn't he do an incredible job interviewing Randy?
Well, who you asking?
I was just doing. No, I was saying to these guys
wait,
just before. They haven't seen it.
Oh, he did. Didn't
So-
it's not? Didn't he? He did an amazing job.
Yeah.
But
I was saying to these guys just before how great that interview was on
But
Friday night.
But there isn't a recording of it.
No, there isn't. So
I'm
you
really
need to-
sorry.
Yeah, they didn't end up recording it.
I really screwed up. Okay, the thing is that the number of people coming along to this event is what the facilities are at the event are based on how many people turned up, and they have 120, 150 people who finally are actually paying. That means they cut short on people recording audio because they have to pay the venue extra for recording audio, and also the people recording video. There is no people recording video. There's nothing in any of the rooms, any recording devices. I'm really sorry. So like an idiot, I set up my recording device, but I didn't switch the inputs. So there was a recording device on the table between me and Randy. And it was set to line input, even though it had the bloody mics right there.
Oh no. Oh well.
I tried for you, but unfortunately, my mind was elsewhere because I was about to stand up in front of this audience with Apple people in the audience and Randy right there and do my first ever interview live.
Yeah,
so
you were understandably nervous.
I really apologize.
So how did you get picked for such an honor to interview Randy?
What happened was that when I'm going to do is lean the computer back so I can stand up.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah, totally.
There you go. I'm gonna let you jump back in.
Cool.
I'm gonna go and jump into my next go to the bathroom. But good to see you guys.
Mike and Dan say to me, could you write a blog post about it, or could you promote it? And I thought, well, all the people that see my stuff at the moment are the people who will go to fcp.co anyway and see the tweets anyway, so they know about the summit. It's already happening. That's no big deal. But I thought, well, if Randy was interviewed, then that would be much more of a draw, maybe for people who weren't into Final Cut Pro, who were generally into all that kind of stuff, or maybe people around Silicon Valley who have actually heard of Randy and know about the history of it a little bit. So I wrote a blog post as if it was happening, emailed this to Mike and Dan and say, how about this? And they said, okay, well, we'll pass the message on to Randy. He's on holiday at the moment. And if he gets back to us and says yes, then that's what we'll do. And I didn't say I wanted to do the interview. I just said he should be interviewed. And the funny thing was, I thought the whole thing would just be an interview. I thought it'd be an hour-long interview. Then they said, oh, he wants to do his presentation about how to make movies. And I said, okay, well, he could do 20 minutes on the movie, or maybe 15 minutes on making movies and 45 minutes on the interview. And they said, well, that's a rather long time for an interview. Maybe you should make it a bit shorter than that. And I thought, well, hey, it sounds like I'm doing it. I didn't think it was me that was doing the interview. Okay, I kind of went along with that because I thought, well, Chris Fenwick is going to be around. It's going to be Chris Fenwick. It might as well be him because he's the kind of
he's the guy. Yeah,
he's the clown prince of Final Cut Pro 10. I just invented that. And he'll be really good because of all this stuff he was doing at NAB. You know, so he was a great host. And I thought, well, who else would do it? But it seemed to me it ended up being me by kind of me starting doing the negotiation. And I thought, what message can we say to Randy to say that he will do the interview? So the interviewer said, okay, I'll do it. The interview is a series of questions about what is stopping more and more people using video and working with video. What are the limitations of using video? And what were they when you created Premiere? What was your target with Premiere? Then what was it different with Final Cut Pro 10? And then how did it change with iMovie? So he kind of bought into that. And then he said, in the email said, hey, you can ask me any question apart from the future of what's in the future version of Final Cut Pro 10. And I thought, you may say that, but I could ask you some terrible questions about the past you do not want to answer.
Oh God, we're about to be inundated, guys.
Do we?
Let's see if I pull the headphone.
Hey, Chris.
And do it live.
Hey, Chris.
Can we hear you?
Hey, Chris.
Is this the Illuminati?
Somebody say something. Oh, there.
How does it work?
Get your face.
So Chris, you're Chris. Hey, Mark.
Mark
There's
Smith.
not a. Hey, Sam.
And Chris.
Hey, Mark.
What's up, gentlemen?
Yeah, we miss you guys.
Yeah. So
Is that T-Payton?
yes.
Yes, that's T. Payton. Hey, Mark. How's it going? We've talked. Not really.
Yeah, good, you got good stuff going on. I love the cut. The what do you call it? The
Morph cut.
The morph cut.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yes. Yes. Thank you very much. Hey, Sam.
I think you gave Adobe that idea.
Hey, Avid has that now too, right?
It's got a poor man's version of it.
I'll just quickly finish that story. So then what happens was Adobe was saying, well, is there anything you want to say to us? And then Randy said, can I continue working on that software? And then Adobe said, yes, we'll give you a job. Because Adobe couldn't ask, but they were just waiting for Randy to ask.
We're reflecting for them some of the stuff that happened on the night when Randy and Alex had the interview.
And the
Because
first
they went through so much history of the early days of what became Final Cut.
And the first version of Premiere, user interface, everything, all created by Randy on his own.
Wow.
First, version 1. Version 2, version 3, with 2 other guys. Those first 3 versions, up to version 4.
You said like 3 other guys.
Yeah, it was just created by about 4 or 5 guys. Did all versions up to version 4.
So, Alex,
Yes.
do you think there's any bootleg versions of your interview?
Well, who knows? Maybe somebody recorded in the audience. Maybe somebody has to make an announcement to say, we don't have a recording of it. So if you do, we'd be very interested.
I thought maybe you weren't allowed to record it.
No. That's the Apple presentations. There was nothing about the SuperLink that you couldn't do that.
So, Alex, your opinion about Chris Fenwick, your description was pretty accurate, I think, earlier.
Chris, I've come up.
What did you call him?
The Clown Prince.
The Clown Prince of Final Cut Pro.
He doesn't mind.
No, I realize that. That's an honor.
That's Richard. Yes,
That's Richard Taylor. He's
yes.
in,
And there's Ron.
so
who else?
Richard's. We don't have most of the international folks aren't in this time.
Yeah, like nobody's here.
It's still early.
Well, normally we have 7 or 8 people, and most of the time we've got 2 or 3 Australians. We've got the guys from London.
Where is everybody? Ron's in Texas, right?
Ron's in Texas. No, Ron's in Kentucky. It's in the South. What?
Kentucky.
Kentucky, that's right. He's in New Mexico?
Albuquerque,
right? And then everybody else.
I'm in D.C. I'm in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, he's in Washington, D.C.
Hey, Sam. So I was thinking of you this week because I was just brainstorming about, is it possible to share events among among different libraries for 2 editors to share the same event? So basically have like an Avid style, locking a bin, in other words, like opening the same project.
Everyone's got to be in their same
Library.
library.
Closer audio.
Everyone's got to be in their same library, but if you keep the events, if you use the copy events command, that's exactly how it works.
Oh no, this is what I did. I made a symlink of the event folder.
Oh.
And I put it in multiple. I duped the library. And it works.
So how does that work?
No, I was able to get an Avid style. This is over NFS. I was able to get an Avid style. Have 2 editors be able to access the same event, and then get to another timeline. What
happens with the projects then?
Well, the project would be in a 3rd event.
Well, what if the project was in that same event though?
But that messes it up completely.
Okay.
Because there's no permissions. But no, we were
Plus,
talking.
it has to be managed media, probably, right?
No, maybe. No, it's just Sam and I were talking about previously a conversation just about collaboration.
No,
and we were kind of dreaming up about this. And I just want to tell you, did it.
Sorry, are you? They're doing something weird over here. But are you going to do a video on this? We're doing Meerkat and Seth.
I'll do a video of it.
Because we'll test it out in the lab, and we'll put a really giant event, and we'll just kind of. Did you see? Was it stable?
No. Well, the problem is that it will. Final Cut will recognize that one event is being changed, and then that library will say this has to close.
Okay.
So you close it, but then it doesn't corrupt anything. You're just able to work. Anyway, I'll make a video of it. I just thought it was an interesting thing.
You can actually have it to if you if somebody imports media to the sim-linked event, what happens?
It works.
Really? And it doesn't close on the other side. So you can.
No, it works, but then as soon as you try to modify it you have like A and B, okay? So you can add media to A or add media to B, but as soon as you start trying to add it on both sides,
right?
It's kind of weird. Then it freaks out and it says it has to close, but it doesn't corrupt anything. It just closes. Anyway, I'll make a video on it. I just thought it was an interesting thing.
I really want to play with that, and you should maybe send that to some of our friends.
I'm sure they know it works. Anyway.
Sam, do you think that the way they do sharing of events and stuff now could be improved, make it simpler somehow? It seems complex.
It is probably because yes, I think that could improve. I would love to see that improve.
So hopefully you're going to be an influence on getting that simplified for the rest of us.
I have relayed some concerns. I don't really have that much pull, but I do know the way that I'd love for it. There's some big bugs like that you need to know about in terms of passing compound and multicam, and you need to be very careful about how you do that. And
yeah,
they're very aware that it's an issue, I think, and that's the thing is, I think building the library structure was great, and now I think they want to go deeper, and I'm hoping that's where stuff.
Oh, good.
I would and also being able to, in this day and age, you should be able to have more than one library open at the same time and all of these other things. And they know that.
Yeah, good. I like hearing stuff like that.
More than one user should be able to open a library. Is that what you mean, Sam?
Yeah.
And easier to pass things around.
What is Chris doing? Chris, what are you doing?
He's videotaping himself.
Meerkat into Meerkat into Meerkat. We're breaking the time-space continuum over here.
This is Google Chat Inception. So my laptop has the Hangout hosting, and then
oh boy,
Chris is Meerkat. Oh, that's right. Reverse.
Oh, this is creepy because now if you look down here, I don't know what real is anymore.